Today on Monkey Life, rescued capuchin Chook goes outside for the first time.
Her mobility is really good. She seems more confident and she seems way more relaxed in her environment as well.
Hand-reared baby loris Bobbi gets ready to graduate.
I think we're at a crossroads right now. I think it's time to transition the baby into adult life.
And Hananya's chimps have a lucky dip for their breakfast. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Everybody's well aware that they need to be looked after carefully.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been 3 weeks since Alison travelled to West Yorkshire to rescue a female capuchin living in an outdoor cage in a backyard. When she arrived at the park, a vet check revealed that, as well as missing fur on and around her tail, numerous fingers and toes had been amputated and she had bronchitis. But there was good news when the rest of the tests were declared clear and she was able to join Gizmo's group. The team have named her Chook and are very pleased with her progress.
Yeah, Chook's doing really well. She seems to have pretty good capuchin behaviour. So in terms of interacting with the other capuchins, she's doing wonderfully. She knows how to flirt and make friends. And when they do have a bit of a squabble with her, she knows to be submissive and do all of the right things, which is really great. She seems to really enjoy the companionship. Early on, we did have to separate her overnight still, even when we were doing the introductions. And she seemed a little bit more unsettled. And as soon as you put her with another animal the next day, she seemed more relaxed. So yeah, she seems to really respond to the companionship.
Along with male leader Gizmo, also rescued from the pet trade, the group is made up of 4 ladies. Chook has now met them all, not as one big group, but individually. The introductions have taken place indoors, where the team have more control if anything gets out of hand. But so far, things are progressing well.
One-on-one, it's really positive. We've seen some play sessions and lots of grooming sessions. So that's really, really positive. We're now trying to build it up a little bit, which with capuchins is the really tricky stage. They don't necessarily always build bonds, and although one-on-one, they're perfectly fine. So we're now at the tricky stage of trying to build on the group.
Today, Donna is going to give the whole bunch outside access together. For Chook, this will be a first. Her initial obstacle is getting through the flap separating the bedrooms from the outside. Once that's negotiated, she heads straight out. She's a little wary and wide-eyed at the large space in front of her. The other females are quite content going about their own business, leaving Chook to find her own way. At first, she doesn't stray far from the entrance. Leader Gizmo has dealt with the new arrival really well. Since moving troop and living with his own little group of ladies, he's flourished, and it helps that the females all adore him. The care team hope the group's small size will prevent Chook feeling too overwhelmed, and she's finally started to explore the enclosure.
Her mobility is really good. She seems more confident and she seems way more relaxed in her environment as well. But generally, she is very inquisitive. I think it will just take her a while to get used to her new surroundings and all the new sights and smells, which is understandable. She's popped out a few times and she seems happy, and gradually she'll just come out more and more as that confidence builds.
But that's enough excitement for today, and Chook heads back into the house. In the lemur enclosure at Malagasy, the troop are out exploring and foraging for food. But for the 11 residents, things are a little different today. In the last 24 hours, their home has had a bit of a revamp.
We've strung up a lot of new ropes. We've had some feeding platforms made that we can hoist high up into the trees to encourage lots of sort of eating at height from the lemurs. We've got numerous new sort of baskets and things, again, that we've strung up on pulleys so that we can lower and raise them up into the treetops. And by having sort of raised platforms and bowls and baskets and things, we can basically spread the food out all amongst the treetops, which gives everybody good opportunity to get to food. And also adjusting their enclosure from time to time as well keeps things interesting. It keeps them exploring and interested and gives them something to think about.
Along with the feeding stations, new ropes provide access points for otherwise hard-to-reach areas. These allow the more nimble members of the troop to explore even further. Those with reduced mobility still have plenty of easier options to feed. The enclosure is full of natural browse and plants for the lemurs to enjoy. And at this time of year, it's the brambles that provide a delicious bounty. Some of the lemurs are making the most of the juicy blackberries. Ring-tailed lemurs have tough, padded feet and hands, meaning the prickly thorns aren't a problem. The care team have also cleared pathways to give them access to the wild fruit.
So ringtails are pretty opportunistic with feeding. They're quite keen on trying a lot of different things. But in the wild, when food becomes scarce in one area, they do spend a lot of time moving around to try and find another good source of food. And although they will travel in the treetops, it's quite common sight to see ringtails walking along the ground with their tails held up, sort of walking from one area to another in pursuit of food. So it's kind of important to have the same setup here. Plenty of action up in the trees, but also plenty of pathways and areas for them to walk around on the ground as well.
All the Malagasy lemurs are actively exploring their new-look enclosure, including the oldest residents who've both recovered since recent visits to the vet. White Spot is now pain-free and eating normally after having an infected canine removed. And Houdini, who recently broke his left arm, is now moving around comfortably.
It basically meant that he had to have some cage rest for a while, so he has had to be in the overnight pen with a different sort of friend every day as company, while he has had time to sort of start using the arm again as it was healing. We've seen gradual improvements. You know, he started putting the hand down from time to time, it kind of got better and better, and now we're at the stage where he's using the arm normally, so it seems like that's healed up really well, and he's back to exploring with everybody else and being a key part of the group.
It seems the newly revamped enclosure is a hit with the whole Malagasy lemur family. At the park's Loris complex, the maintenance team are busy adding another bedroom to the existing accommodation. They're getting it ready for the park's youngest resident, a baby Loris who, up till now, has been hand-reared by Alison and the Loris team. And the big news is, it's finally been confirmed Bob is actually a girl. And she's now called Bobbi.
I think we're at a crossroads right now. I think it's time to transition the baby into adult life. So we are still providing a fair amount of attention and care, but to be quite honest, I think we're about ready to graduate and to be a Loris again, which is fantastic.
Now 16 weeks old, the infant's progress has been rapid, and she's eating a wide variety of insects, fruit, and vegetables.
Right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 200, 201.
Since birth, her weight has increased by 600%, from 34 grams to more than 200. And she's now displaying more and more characteristic Loris behavior, including becoming mostly nocturnal.
Following on from that, we just stud the cage now with food. Only have to hand out the gum as to not have it everywhere, and the locusts because they're a bit quick. Are you gonna grab one? You're gonna have to be quick. They're gonna go everywhere in a moment. Oh, good one. So this is, I think, gonna be one of the very last glimpses of daylight hours. That's what they want to be, is nocturnal.
Bobbi now needs to get used to the sights, sounds and smells of the rest of the Loris complex residents before actually meeting them. That means living side by side in her own bedroom, but without any physical contact just yet. The care team have been preparing the area.
We have made the cages bigger, putting more and more branches in all those cages. They instinctively have a grip because as babies they have to grip onto their mums, but climbing is still a skill. It's still, they have to learn it, they have to figure out which are the strong branches, which can support their weight. If they get somewhere, they need to figure out if they can get to the next place they want to be or if they have to turn around. And turning around on a branch can be quite tricky for a little Loris.
Discovering via DNA tests that the baby was a girl has meant a change of plan at the Loris complex.
Our end game was to hopefully have a pair, a male-female pair with him and Nora. Obviously, we now have two little girls, Nora and Bobbi. So the aim is still to have them living together. Hopefully they will interact and grow up well together. But obviously, we don't know a long-term end for these two now. We will at some point have to try and find them mates.
So far, so good for this female baby Loris. When the weather's hot and sunny, it's tempting for the primates to just lie back and enjoy it. But today, the primate care team are hoping to encourage the 19 chimps in Hananya's troop to be a bit more active. They're working hard to create an interesting and exciting diversion for them. The team are filling an empty pond in the enclosure with a mountain of straw. And to encourage the chimps to get involved, they're hiding a whole range of goodies, including some the chimps don't see very often, and certainly not in such large quantities. Into the straw pond are going nuts, whole aubergines, cooling ice lollies, and plenty of fresh-cut browse and maize. And to keep the chimps cool and refreshed, there are also towels soaked in cold water. It promises to be a lot of fun. The group are let out, with alpha male Hananya leading the way. There's a lot of excited hooting as they work out there's something different in their enclosure. But despite their interest, they're a little cautious. Valerie checks things out from above, as does Honey. Even Hananya isn't sure. Everyone is wary of the straw. They don't know what could be lurking inside. Clinging to the hoses above them for safety, the chimps tentatively investigate what's below. Slowly, they start venturing into the straw. And then the foraging begins in earnest, with Arthur and Thelma burrowing enthusiastically. Shamak has found an aubergine. Arthur, an ice lolly. Cookie, a tasty yogurt drink. Thelma, yep, another aubergine. In fact, aubergine seems to be everyone's favourite vegetable today. Hananya and Arthur both get stuck into the healthy snack too. The mountain of straw is like a giant lucky dip. The chimps forage for food not knowing what they're going to find next. Shamak cools himself down with a juicy ice lolly. Kiki and Trudy, two of the lower-ranking chimps, are quite content eating the corn that's also been distributed. The youngster of the group, Thelma, has her own aubergine, but she's taking a real interest in marjolines. Now she's growing up, the other chimps won't always share. There's plenty to go round, but squabbles still arise. This time, it's the last straw for Arthur and Honey. But it's all part of normal life in a chimp community, and things soon calm down. And with the straw dip supply exhausted, it's back to relaxing and contemplating the day ahead. With autumn fast approaching, staff at the park have been turning their attention to more seasonal forms of enrichment for the primates. Over at the squirrel monkey enclosure, they've been preparing a spiky, delicious and nutritious treat for the group. Teasels full of edible seeds and covered with mealworms. Also on the menu are colourful rose hips, an excellent source of vitamin C. However, one pair of primates are conspicuous by their absence. Saki monkeys Desmond and Chloe.
They have decided they'd rather not live with such noisy friends. The Sakis enjoy a slightly more chilled, slower pace of life. So although they were getting on pretty well with the squirrels in the group, it's just a bit too much for them. So they are in the enclosure that's just on the other side of the house now, very much enjoying a more peaceful sort of life than the squirrel monkeys are able to give.
So today it's just the 7 squirrel monkeys competing for the treats in the enclosure. And it doesn't take the group long to decide what's on offer is right up their street. Three of the troop's newest additions, common squirrel monkeys Lucille, Logan and Lopez, who were rescued last year, are most enthusiastic. Elderly Lucille has been transformed since she arrived at the park as an emaciated, nervous and timid character, with serious psychological problems. Now she's a completely different monkey, confident and full of energy. She's put on weight and her fur is in excellent condition. It's great to see her interacting with everything around her. Logan is the biggest male in the group, and now the man in charge. He's kind and calm, and a great role model for the young and boisterous Lopez. The youngster, along with Nueve, is one of the liveliest characters in the troupe, always on the move, and often causing mayhem as he goes.
For squirrel monkeys, life is never dull. You are constantly on the go, you're constantly active. So anything new and exciting like enrichment that we can throw in really helps them with that, being busy and doing stuff. And they're just generally a very engaged group, particularly now we have got the bigger group. It seems to have brought a new lease of life to some of the older characters as well, particularly the 3 that we actually rescued last year. We've seen them become these really sort of big, strong, healthy monkeys, but actually adding them into our other group of squirrel monkeys has brought this whole new lease of life. They have new friends to interact with, which is wonderful to see.
Nueve is the second youngest resident of the squirrel monkey house. She's matured a lot since arriving 18 months ago from Chessington Zoo. But she's still full of curiosity. The mealworms have definitely grabbed her attention. The 3 older ladies, black-capped squirrel monkeys Topsy, Turvy and Azzy, are taking a back seat today. With their energetic years behind them, they tend to prefer a quieter life these days. Although Turvy can't resist trying a rose hip. It's been a great enrichment for the group. They've enjoyed some of their favourite foods, but had to work to get them, just as they would in the wild. Monkey World aims to give the residents at the park as natural a life as possible, and the primates here continue to flourish. This year, along with baby Loris Bobbi, there was a woolly baby for Pakaya, a daughter called Enya, and Marmoset Ruby surprised everyone with quads, 2 of whom survived. Plus, there was an even more rare arrival. Red-bellied Gwenons Nia and Benny became parents to little Biff. They are the only known family of their kind in captivity.
It's a bit of a voyage of discovery, not only for them, but for us too.
Along with the births, there were other newcomers too. Youngster Hujan came to the park from Krefeld Zoo in Germany. found a foster mum in Roro, and joined Tuan's group.
He's so confident. This is incredible for Hujan.
Alison went to Thailand to rescue female chimp Nari, an old friend she'd met before.
Hi, you. Do you remember?
Despite her previous life as a circus chimp and then living alone for more than 13 years, she settled well into Brian's group.
She's just a really, really nice person and she doesn't want any grief.
Nari displayed great social skills and an awareness of chimp society. She now spends her days with her new friends, enjoying the freedom of the outdoor enclosure. But another recent arrival struggled with the challenge of going outside. Chimp Toprish still spends the majority of her time in the bedrooms and the tunnel leading to the outside. But she's growing in confidence every day. As well as welcoming newcomers to the park, the care team had to say goodbye to others. Squirrel monkey Charlie passed on after the vet discovered he had a number of inoperable tumours. He was a lovable character, and after being rescued from the UK pet trade, was given the best life possible. Another loss was Saki monkey Tutu, who'd suffered health issues from birth. His father Desmond missed him, but was comforted by his partner Chloe. Along with the excitement of new arrivals, the long-term residents were kept busy too. And they particularly enjoyed the warm summer months. Bart's group loved their ice lollies. The bachelors solved their puzzle cubes. And the capuchins enjoyed a fur-rubbing frenzy. While the lemurs showed off their acrobatic skills tackling hidden breakfast treats. It's been an eventful year all round for Alison and the team, but there's no let-up. Alison's already working on new cases of primates needing the park's help. Who knows what next year will bring?